Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And let me start by seriously thank my colleagues for the wonderful spirit in which we worked the last month and more than a year in order to come to an agreement with Council in the end. And I would really like to emphasize that even those who were not, well, strong supporters of the Parliament's mandate were still very supportive, defending that mandate during the quite difficult trilogue. So many thanks again for that. I would also like, despite the absence of Council here, to thank the Estonian presidency for the work they have done. But the absence might say enough at this moment. Mr. Chairman, I'm standing here with quite mixed feelings. This morning, before I came to Strasbourg, I again checked the so-called carbon clock. And the carbon clock indicates how much time we still have left with current CO2 emissions in order to stay within the Paris Agreement. We all so strongly supported the Paris Agreement, and to refresh your memories, the Paris Agreement also tries to stay within the 1.5 degrees scenario. For the 1.5 degrees scenario, the time we have left in the medium estimate, so that is not the most extreme, with current CO2 emissions, is 4 months and 22 days. 4 months and 22 days. So it's obviously clear that we need an extreme sense of urgency to stay within that scenario. And it's clear that during the negotiations with Council, the Member States have not shown that sense of urgency. On the contrary, it was extremely difficult to get the Council moving. And even the arguments that we used from Parliament's side, that with the energy efficiency a proposal from the Commission of 30% instead of the 27%, and with the upcoming facilitative dialogue in the UN process, it was absolutely necessary to increase ambition. Their answer was very stubborn, and that was a clear no. Some Member States even argued that given the fact that because of those developments the ambition might increase in the coming 1-2 years, they wanted to stay on the lower side by concluding this act of law, which is quite scandalous. So if you ask me if I'm satisfied with the final result we agreed, I'm afraid my answer is no. But it was the maximum that we could get out of Council, and I think it would have been irresponsible if we have not tried to find an agreement there. But still, I'm not satisfied. Nevertheless, the Parliament did achieve quite some improvements in this climate action regulation, because now we're finally got rid of that awful name of effort sharing regulation. From now on we can call it clearly the climate action regulation. Parliament fought hard to get an additional 125 million tonnes of ambition, and I'm proud of that. And we did tighten the trajectory. Member States cannot sit back during the first few years when it kicks in from 2020 onwards. And very important, Mr. Chairman, there is a strong reference to the long-term climate strategy that the EU and the individual Member States must develop. And the European Council recently confirmed that by asking the Commission to come forward with proposals. So we might now finally get rid of the October 2014 conclusions. We also came to a strict review clause, and that one is extremely important, Chairman, also in light of what the Commission can do in the coming year with the Talanoa dialogue and the long-term strategy. So I'm convinced that this is only the start, and that with the increased stringency in the coming years, we might tighten it up in the coming years. Thank you.